The following is a Productions original series.
Hello and welcome to Walk and Roll Live. I'm Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich. Happy New Year, right?
Yeah, happy 2025. Oh my God.
We got through the holiday. Hopefully you did too. And, the last time that we were together, we kind of did our last show of 2024 together and said we're taking a couple of weeks off, see you in the new year. And I couldn't just let it go,
The overachiever in Doug said, man.
I don't even know if it's that, but whatever. I have plenty of time, so it's not like, I had to squeeze it in. But in the Christmas show that I did, it was brief and it was easy and it was fun. And, that was no big deal. The wrap-up show was a little more work. What's that?
It's a labor of your love. So
it really
like
is.
You say, it's not work.
It's not like I have to drag myself down the hall to the studio here in my house and oh God, I got to go do that. No. Yeah, I'm drawn to it. And
he doesn't know what to do without it, guys.
I know, which is sad, So you know what we're all about. We're a podcast dedicated to giving a voice to the disability community. We do that by having those with a disability on to tell their stories and the organizations that provide services and programs to our community on to tell us about those services and all their support. So we appreciate them as well. We've got more of that coming up in 2025. And I want to do more topics driven by a particular topic and get people on. So, we'll talk more about that this year. I've got a couple of things in mind, and Addie, you and I will sit down in a meeting. We'll call a meeting. And
we'll have a very formal meeting.
That's right, in the conference room, and we'll come up with some ideas and start working on those. So I'm a polio survivor. And we had a little discussion about that earlier, too. So,
yeah.
Just for lack of a better word, I don't know if that's the right one, but, it's better than victim, which I've heard a few times in my life, a polio victim, now polio survivor, crutch and brace user for years, and then transitioned into a wheelchair over the last few years. And Addie?
I have cerebral palsy, which I showed up with from the get-go. And now I'm following in Doug's footsteps and getting ready to use my wheelchair, use my walker most of the time. But
so we
get our wheelchair off,
So how did that come into play on your vacation? Because I know you came out to the West Coast.
So I only took a walker. Yeah, I only took a walker because I knew we were going to stick mostly around home and do only like one event where I really had to walk.
Yeah.
But I was wishing for it when we were doing that event. We went to the Cambria Lights up at Cambria Pines, which are gorgeous and beautiful, but I have a 15-year-old nephew and everybody else can go as fast as they like. And, I'm wandering through the tulips with my wheels. But
very nice. So
we made it.
So that's part of the transition.
Yeah.
That's part of, and just from my own experience, everybody's different, but for me, it would be things like that where I was like, I don't really need to bring the chair. And then wanting it once you got there, like, it would have been nice to have that. So then the next time you're like, why don't I bring it? And then if I don't need it, I'll at least have it. And then, So it's all
but I'm kind
of
of vain about nice stuff and expensive stuff. So I was afraid that the airline was going to bust it up and I never used it.
I heard plenty of those stories.
Honestly, that's partly why I left it home, because I'm like, I haven't even had time to break it in. And if they bust a piece off, I'm going to cry and feel horrible about it the whole trip. So.
Yeah, fully understand that. Yeah, I've had my experiences and I've heard too many stories. And I wish I could say it was fairly rare, but I did see something online the other day where I guess they're giving them training.
Oh, good.
Yeah, not to throw wheelchairs around.
That thing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Dude, like somebody's using that on the other side because honestly, 3 out of 5 trips, something gets busted on the walker, and I'm always like, dang it. And then they're like, well, you can put in a claim. Okay, is it really going to do anything? Because I'm a busy girl.
Yeah. Mine had a good outcome, and it wasn't too much trouble. But even saying that, it's too much trouble when, you're and at the time, there was the only wheelchair I had. It was my first wheelchair and only one I had at the time. So, and luckily the issue with it didn't prevent me from still using it, but it still needed to be addressed and taken care of. And after a little resistance, they acquiesced, if you will.
Thank you, people.
Yeah, so they took care of it. So, I had a great holiday too. You know, I had my brother come and spend like 3 or 4 days with me, my younger brother, which over the last 35 years or so, we haven't, no issue, there was no big blow up. We just didn't really spend a lot of time, connecting, talking with one another, even beyond visiting or even including visiting, but over the last year, I think we talked earlier last year that we went on a cruise together, all that. So
this is Cruise Brother.
This is Cruise Brother.
Nice.
So we're getting reacquainted and finding out he's a great guy, and really enjoyed having him here. I guess one of their Christmas traditions in his family was to have eggs Benedict, which I don't think I'd ever had. And he brought his egg Benedict pan, made it for us Christmas morning. Yeah, it's good. Absolutely. And so fun. But he I shouldn't get too much into his personal life, but he's no longer with his partner anymore. And when I say partner, his wife. And so I think there's a correlation between, I'm just figuring this out. There's a correlation between us not talking, and now we're talking and she's not in the picture anymore. You figure the rest out. So it's
common as a woman.
Her loss, my gain. Yeah. So
exactly. It's about time. It's 2025. It's a new year.
Yeah. Absolutely. So that was my good time. And, all the parties and all that. Want to thank Ezra Arce for he was our last actual interview that we had last year. Yeah, he closed it out in fine fashion, and thank him very much. We appreciate that. And as we go along with Walk and Roll Live, trying to grow it, and thank you for your support. If you haven't done so already, it would really help us out if you'd like, and subscribe and share and do all those things on whatever platform you listen. All right, cool. So coming up today, it's an interview with Chris Benedict. He's known as the DJ of Ability. Chris is a professional DJ, public speaker, advocate for disability rights based in Santa Barbara, California, my old stomping grounds. He's been serving the community since 1999, emphasizing the message, live it, don't diss it. So We're going to hear from Chris right after this from Agyar Professional Training.
At Agyar Professional Training, we know that your greatest asset is your team. Investing in their development, knowledge, and happiness is essential for your business's success and growth. To achieve new heights, it's important to hire intelligent, talented individuals and empower them to excel in their areas of strength and passion. Agyar is committed to transforming your employees into happier, more productive, and fulfilled individuals. When your team thrives, your business prospers. Wise leaders understand that providing team members with opportunities to shine in their strengths unlocks untapped potential. Elevate your team with Agyar Professional Training and witness the growth of your business.
You're listening to Walk and Roll Live Disability Stories.
It's a disabled life, rolling along. Leaving my struggles behind, feeling strong. The road ain't easy, but that's just fine. 'Cause I'm living my truth, walking my own life.
Welcome back to Walk and Roll Live. Let's start with an introduction of our guest today. First, your name, where you're from, and your disability status.
My name is Chris Benedict. I'm from Santa Barbara, California. And I have cerebral palsy.
You're in my old stomping grounds. We were just talking a little bit before we started to record. That's where I grew up, actually. I was there till, 17, 18, 19, and then I went to broadcast school, and the rest is history. But it's still as beautiful as ever, isn't it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Living the dream. I'm a little jealous, Chris, I'll tell you.
I know, and I was just there, so we all could have high-fived. Yeah. I just flew, I live in Atlanta, but I just flew back out of Santa Barbara about a week and a half ago. So.
Oh, shoot.
I know.
So we like to start with getting to know Chris a little bit as a younger boy, man. What were you like growing up?
Oh, so growing up, I lived by the Santa Barbara Museum of Natural History.
Wow.
And my grandpa was the head of maintenance and grounds for 43 years.
Wow.
Wow.
And then we lived in a little, well, it used to be a barn, and there were 14 steps going upstairs.
Yeah.
So instead of what we should have done, and we should have moved, but instead of doing that, we installed a stair glide to go upstairs.
Oh, awesome.
Well, the problem with that is that once I'm upstairs. Once I'm downstairs. There's no me leaving. There's no way for me to go in between the two without help. So,
gotcha. Now, is that one of those devices that kind of goes up the rail? You sit in a seat and it goes up the staircase. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're at one or the other, you're just kind of there instead of going up and down in this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I lived. Sorry.
All right.
I hope you can edit this.
I'll make that decision later.
So after I lived there for about 20-ish years, and then I moved down to Galita, and I lived there for about 5 or 7 years with a roommate that I didn't like.
Well, you're a forgiving soul.
And then I moved out to where I'm at now, at Pilgrim Terrace.
Awesome.
And then I've been here since 2007. So,
wow, been there a while.
And then, so
what kind of things were you into, Chris?
Before we do that,
yeah.
So let me back up a bit and tell you my story. So my mom died of a cranial. Well, let me back up even more. So my mom and my dad were having a picnic for 4th of July. And for some reason it was held on the 5th. I don't remember why. And they were eating steak. Remember that. That's going to be important in a second. So they got ready to go home. And my mom developed a severe stomachache. And my mom and my dad said, well, is it the baby? And she didn't know, probably just the steak I ate. And so they continued home, and the stomachache got worse. So she was almost ready to go into her own practice with OT, occupational therapy, in hands. And so anyway, they went in the ER because of her stomachache, not knowing that stomachache was actually an aneurysm of the brainstem.
Oh,
So
wow.
they gave her a shot of Demerol, which relaxed that nerve and allowed the aneurysm to break. And she was, I think, it went on the 5th she died. She was on life support for like, I don't know, like 12 hours because of my sick. And then because then my vital signs started to falter and they pulled me and allowed her to die. And I weighed 3 pounds 1 ounce at birth. And then my dad couldn't take care of me for obvious reasons and sent me down to live with my grandparents here in Santa Barbara. So that's the story.
That's the start.
Okay. Chris, what year was that?
82.
Okay. I'm 79 and I have CP2, so that's why I'm kind of trying to figure out the pieces.
Okay. What kind of CP do you have?
Spastic. Okay. It's all on my right side, but it's not in my speech.
I have dyskinetic.
Okay.
Yeah. And then my grandparents took me to their house, which was in Santa Barbara.
And here you are.
And I've been there ever since.
Yeah.
And then after that, I went through the school system here and I bounced around the school system quite a lot because my grandma wanted to change school for whatever reason.
Let me ask you, Chris. So in 82, because I was young and going through the school system in the 60s, but in 82, were you what they called back in my day mainstreamed? Were you you were in the public system, right? Okay.
Yeah, I was mainstreamed. Yeah. I was mainstreamed, and then I had a special ed class
within that. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That I would float through.
So when I was a kid, I was in a school that was off of Melpis Street. It's Mitchell Torina. No. Anyway, down in that area.
Was that French school?
It was Lawrence M. Parma. The building is still there, but it's been it's been closed for a while, and I'm trying to think. I've read a little bit about its history, and it was still special ed for quite a while, and they called it something different back then. But it was only 2 rooms. There was a room that was kindergarten through like 5th or 6th, and then the other room was 5th or 6th through seniors. So it was all mixed in those. Yeah, it was just the 2. And then my brother and I were moved into public school, well, mainstream, in the 5th grade.
Now, when you say seniors, you're talking about seniors in high school.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So they were all together. How a teacher taught, all the grades between 6th and 12. That must have been a challenge. And I can say, and I think I've said it here before, is that, when I went to school in 5th grade, I wasn't really fully prepared academically, as you can imagine, one teacher teaching kindergarten through 5th,
Sorry to say this, Doug, but was it a lot of worksheets? I taught middle school, so I know that it's probably like when you have a sub and they're like, here, you do your packet, you do your packet, you sit over there, like.
And not to get too far off of your story, Chris, then a lot of that day was also you had physical therapy. You had time when you had physical therapy. You had time when you had OT, occupational therapy as well, and your classwork, all those things. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Go, Chris.
So one thing that I really hated is especially in history class, the teacher would give us packets of material to read, and I'm like, well, how did this apply to me today? And all the other regular ed kids kind of got a more of a well-rounded education about everything. And I really liked physics. I really enjoyed physics. And fast forward well, let me back up a little bit. So, during high school, we had to do 60 hours of community service. And I did 120 over at the Museum of Natural History. And I mean, it was right across the street. Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
And then it was fun too. And then when I got into ninth grade, my ninth grade teacher said, "Hey, Chris, I want to throw a party." And then, okay. So I got the home audio equipment together and I did the job and I loved what I was doing, and one thing led to another, and I've been in business 25 years.
Very nice. So that's how it all started. So did you already have the equipment?
No.
Somebody asked you if you do a party, you went out and got the equipment to do that party and then just ran with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
And then remember, I used home audio equipment for that one gig.
Sure.
And then I met a friend of mine named Gary Atkins. We've been friends for, 25 years. And I'm in the SDP program, which stands for self-determination.
Okay, yeah.
Through the regional center.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of my staff members. So he helped me load, unload, set up, tear down, drive, all that stuff. And then...
So is he still your partner helping you out?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
I got I have that 3-4 guy that I rotate through. That if one person isn't available, I can call the other 3 in and see who's available.
That is great. I love to see a guy that, sees the opportunity and sees it and runs with it. I think too many people, they don't see what's right in front of them.
Yeah, right. And then backing up a little more, when I went in 7th grade, I was asked to speak in a health class, and I loved that too. And now I'm a public speaker as well as a DJ.
So do you go and speak publicly, like as a motivational speaker? What's usually your topic?
So I got several topics that I speak on. Disability in general, about how to interact, what to do, what not to do, all that common sense stuff that kind of goes out the window. And then, I speak about communication and choice and how to communicate effectively with people with disabilities and how to allow responsible mistake making and how to allow risk taking, because a lot of people with disabilities aren't allowed to take risks.
That's awesome.
And the problem is, when you're not allowed to break out of the codependent bubble that we are told to live in, well, we stay children.
Yeah.
Forever.
You don't learn your own limits.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
through counseling and mentorship and all my stuff, I've really blossomed and I know, I'm running business.
Right. No, totally. Doug and I have talked a lot about that too, like in our own, when we kind of talk about our stories and stuff, I talk about, because I can't drive. And so I talk about how that can kind of keep you in a child position because you're asking friends to go somewhere. I have a husband, so you're asking your husband to take you somewhere, like you say, you are like consistently a child in a lot of people's minds because you need that assistance. And how do you live beyond that? Hey, can you do me a favor?
Right. And also what you just said, people don't see us as marriage mature. And, that's wrong.
Yeah.
And, right now I have a girlfriend in Massachusetts.
Ooh. Big stuff.
yeah, we met on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
And everything going well right now. So,
awesome.
One day at a time.
Yep, that's the truth.
I'm also a member of Toastmasters International. I've been with them for about a year and a half, I believe. And it has really opened up my skill set as a speaker. I just got a certificate from self-advocate speakers training through the Disabilities Voices United Speaker Bureau. And then I got another certificate this year from ARCA, the Association of Regional Centers Association, in June. And then I got another certificate from the DRC.
Okay. Disability Rights California, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And that was all in this year. So
you had a good 2024.
So you're taking off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you speak to groups, is it, and I kind of feel like I know what the answer is going to be, but is it able-bodied or disabled groups or both?
No, we don't use that term anymore.
Okay.
We use the term people without disabilities and people with disabilities.
Okay.
No,
I'm terrible at all that stuff, Chris. You could educate me.
So it really depends on my audience. I can change my speech to fit my audience.
Yeah.
And that is something that I need, that I always need to think about who my audience is.
Yeah.
And then fit my speech accordingly to my speech.
What is your sense, Chris, was you specifically, if you talk to people with disabilities and you share your message with them, do you feel like they're hearing this for the first time? Is this a new concept to them? Yeah.
Because one thing that I tell them, and this goes for people with and without disability, I don't care who you are, get into counseling. Because we all got stuff that we need to deal with. And more often than not, people with disabilities have more stuff than the people without disabilities have.
Yeah.
And once you get beyond that, oh, poor me, and oh, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to get into trouble. I'm not going to be liked by people, all that crap. Once you get beyond that, then you can really live your life to the full and spread your message to people that really need to hear it.
Yeah. And hopefully that's kind of our goal here is share stories like yours and all the stories we've shared and see that it's an event in your life or it's a condition that you've come to in your life. And once you kind of deal with that, then it's all the other things of life that everybody goes through and deals with. The ups and downs of employment, unemployment, relationships and health conditions and just all the things that you have to work on.
It's one card in the deck.
Yeah.
That card.
I like that. Well, Chris, you're a perfect person to bring this up because we've been having this internal conversation for a while within Walk and Roll Live, and we've addressed it in some more subtle ways with the program. And actually, you're the first person that brought it to my attention, because there was a lot of the I word that was thrown around, an inspiration, right? And thank you for that. I want to thank you because you, on the program, from time to time, we would say, we'd love to hear from you, your comments, good, bad, ugly, if you have some criticisms of the show. And thank you for reaching out to me and saying, what's all this, talk about inspiration? Why can't it just be called an open and honest conversation? And I don't know if you noticed the change after we talked, but I use that phrase quite often,
Oh, good.
And that is you, your influence on Walk and Roll Live. So we appreciate it. But we did get another comment that, and I don't know if you've heard this term because I've asked a lot of people, and I don't know if I've run into anybody that's heard it, but inspiration porn.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I thought maybe you had, and I don't feel like that's what we do. That's what we were accused of from somebody anonymously who, and I always take anonymous criticisms with a grain of salt. If you feel like it's something worth saying, then be like Chris and just say it to my face. But at any rate, it's got us reflecting and thinking about it, and to some degree, we've had to make some change. I'm not saying we were right in every concern, but it's very complex. It's not as black and white as it's inspirational. I mean, some of these stories are inspiring. I'm sorry. There, I said it. When we hear, of somebody having an accident and their life has changed in major ways. And I'm not talking about the physical things. We all can learn. We can all learn how to transfer out of a wheelchair and all that. I think, given the level of our abilities, right?
It all up.
It's up here. Yes, that's where I get the inspiration from these stories. And I've said it many times, and maybe I'm wrong, but I always say I'm inspired by the people that have gone through these things different than us. We've known no difference, right? So we've just grown up with it. So the mental part I haven't had to overcome, and I don't know how you speak to that, but.
Yeah, so let me tell you a few more stories. So, in 2007, I went to Nicaragua with my church, and we helped people with disabilities over there, and then we went to school with kids without disabilities. And I was in my manual wheelchair, and I wanted to move a foot up, right? So I got my brake, and I started to roll, and I ended up flipping my chair over. And that was perfect. Because I'm like, just get me up. I'm fine. And because the homeschool was stopped. And it taught the kids that people with disabilities are not fragile.
Yeah.
And then, well, talking about fragile, the way I get around is in my chair. So, 2 stories. One story is I was going up Creel Hill. Yes, Creel Hill.
I know what you're talking about.
And I was going to Bible study, and my battery ran out of power. So we could have done some, put me in the truck and left my chair behind. We could have gotten my van and gotten me, to where we were going. No, we didn't do that. We got a top down and we attached me to the back of the truck and told me up the hill.
Now you're talking.
Right?
And I actually have a video of that.
I bet that was a lot more fun than any other solution too, right?
Yeah.
Ingenuity. It's ingenuity.
And then going back to Nicaragua for a second. So the last day, well, the first day we get there, we leave LAX at 2 a.m. We take a red eye to Houston, and Houston down to Nicaragua, and then we take a taxi, which is no more than a worn-out van to where we were going.
Gotcha.
And we are exhausted, right? All we want to do is sleep. And the tour guide says, "Welcome, guys. It's time for a zip line." Like, what? We just had we just had a 12-hour flight. All we want to do is sleep. Now we're going on a zip line. Okay. So, I'm thinking one zip line, zip done, No, this is Nicaragua. So it was zip, hook, unhook, zip, unhook, hook, zip, unhook, hook. And it took about an hour to get through. And the people that were helping me spoke Spanish. So I couldn't speak that to them. So they would hit my knees on the platforms of the zip line, and all I can do is say, "Ow!"
The universal language.
Yeah. And then fast forward to the last day, we went to church on the last day, and the pastor comes up to me and says, "Hey, Chris," I'm like, "Yeah, you know that you're giving a sermon today?" Like, what? Like, no one told me. No, okay.
Surprise.
No, I'm like, "Okay, God, help me." And I pulled it off, and everything was good.
Good.
That's awesome.
And I can't help but think, you hear a story like that, and here's a guy in a wheelchair that's traveling to Nicaragua to the jungle. I'm sure everything wasn't paved, right?
No.
And you're doing all that. And there's plenty of people without disabilities that aren't going to take a trip like that. They're just like, oh, no, I'm not doing that. So forgive me if I find inspiration in that, but, I do.
Yeah, yeah. But wait, I'm not done.
Give me more. I'm ready.
So fast forward a decade, and so I have this Ford van, A150 Ford van that I'm doing my work with, and it needs to be replaced. And my dad and I are trying to figure out what to do here. And then this guy just showed up in my life and says, I want to buy you a new van. I'm like, okay. So one thing led to another, and all of a sudden, I have a $40,000 Dodge Ram high top.
Oh, yeah.
In my parking space. And so my dad says, well, you got a new van and we gotta go somewhere. So my dad planned a trip to New Orleans. And so, everything is going on fine, and I'm planning the trip.
Uh-oh.
Then I worked for an organization called Cognition, COGNISION, and we make a headset for people that can't speak.
Okay.
And so they said, hey, Verizon wants to interview you about this headset. I'm like, great. And then they wanted to send you to New York. And then, really? I've always wanted to go to New York. So I researched air flights, and I heard about the horror stories about the airlines not being nice to wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So my dad says, hey, I'll drive. And everybody looked at him that he was crazy. And so here we go. We jumped in the van and we took off, and we did a cross-country road trip.
I bet you those are just priceless memories.
How fun is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that?
I said, how fun was the trip? I'm sure. Did you stop in New Orleans? Did you eat lots of good food? That's one of my favorite places to eat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful.
And
also hard to get around, though, right? A little bit. The streets.
Yeah. They're not. I mean, it's an old city, so.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't like, hey, let's give them an easy way to get around. It's an obstacle course everywhere.
Yeah.
Cares.
Yeah.
So what are you up to these days?
Well, I'm working for Momentum, formerly known as UCP, and I'm training staff on how to communicate effectively with people with disabilities. I'm running my DJ company, and I got gigs lined up for the new year.
Public speaking, right? Still doing that.
Yeah, and DJ.
Yeah.
And yeah.
What's your favorite kind of music to play when you DJ?
Oh, house.
Woohoo! That's fun.
Well, dance music.
That's fun.
I like it.
Okay, I'm being nosy. I'm going backwards in time, though, because talking about disabilities and regular abilities, how did you pick your DJ name that's what you were going to go with? And did you start as a different name and now that's your name, or have you always been?
Yes. So I was DJ Chris for a while, and then I got hit by a car. No, I was Chris Crash for a while. and then I'm like,
if we had to vote, I like that one.
I know, that is the freaking best. I'm like, I can't even.
But then I'm like, I want to make DJ Ability.
Yeah.
But there's a famous DJ called DJ Ability already.
Oh.
So I stick the little word up in there.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
DJ Crash.
Yeah, I like the DJ Crash.
So any lasting effects from that by getting hit by a car?
I had a rod put in my leg.
Yeah.
Because of that, but
Other than that, good. Okay.
We could call you DJ Crash Rod.
Yeah. Yeah. But one thing that Dodgers don't think about is when they set a bone with people without cerebral palsy, it heals just fine.
Yeah.
But people with CP,
Not so much.
We got spasms.
Exactly. They're going to pull it in a different way.
And they had to reset the bone 3 times. Because I was spasming and the bone was moving. Oh, that hurt so bad.
Oh, no kidding.
And then I'm like, is there anything else that we can do here?
Maybe you can develop a whole line of surgeons that you can give them the class on if they have CP, particularly ones that spasm. It will move your bones.
Yeah, do it.
Chapter.
Yeah, do it this way. Yes. So did they learn any lessons from?
I think so.
I hope so. Right? Yeah, for the next person. So, what as we kind of eye the future? What do you have on the horizon? Well, you sound like a guy that's you're not finished yet.
No.
Yeah.
I got 2 big events with the regional center this year. I'm speaking and DJing, and then I got some stuff with the city of Santa Barbara. I'm the DJ for the adapted programs. Oh, and then I'm doing a marathon for clean water in Nicaragua. Not Nicaragua, in third world countries.
Oh, awesome.
Through Team World Vision.
Okay.
So yeah, I got.
You're a big fan. We're holding you.
So are you competing or you're providing the DJ services?
Oh, I'm competing.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah. I have a hand track.
Oh, how cool is that?
Yeah.
That's awesome. No dust settles under your feet.
No.
That's my grandma.
Nope.
No, sir.
Well, very good. Well, thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. That's awesome. I got to ask you too before you go, because I grew up within like walking distance of the museum.
Oh,
yeah.
Where?
The first house that because I was born in San Luis Obispo, moved to Santa Barbara, and the first house was in that neighborhood, right there. And it was just around the corner. And I love that place.
What year was that?
That was 19. We're just having this like 50, probably 8 to 61.
A
long time. I'm old, buddy.
I wasn't born yet.
No, you weren't born yet. No. Yeah.
You weren't even a thought yet, Chris, but we won't tell Doug that. Just kidding.
Your parents may not have been born yet.
Actually, my mom was.
Yeah, okay.
Where did you live over there?
Lived on Panorama Place. It's just a small little cul-de-sac with about 5-6 houses on it.
Where?
Yeah, just off of, I can't even remember some of the other bigger streets it was close to. But, in that neighborhood, beautiful part of Santa Barbara.
Cool.
Yeah. All righty.
Is there anything else?
No, that's a full episode right there. Thank you. And again, thank you for the influence that you've had on us and the conversations that we've had here and ongoing. I use artificial intelligence because I have no musical ability really at all. So thank goodness I use artificial intelligence, and I they help me put some of the thoughts that I have to music, and I use them here and there on the show. But I've done one. It wasn't really like inspirational, but it was about us and our community and living life to the fullest and from that genre. But then also I kind of had it do one that was more about, and I think I talked about this a couple episodes ago, just that like you were saying, we're well-rounded people. We have our ups, our downs, our struggles. We can be horrible people too. That's not.
No, there is one more thing that I need
absolutely.
to bring. So, one thing that drives me crazy is that people without disabilities, they can make as much money as they want without being penalized.
Yeah.
People with the disabilities, they gotta play a judging act with SSI, SSGI.
Yeah. And so many of the other benefits that you get that go along with that, yeah.
And not much money either. You get I know it went up January 1st.
Yeah, not much though.
And before January 1st, you could only make $15.50 a month. Otherwise, you lose your benefit.
Yeah.
And that's not.
Well, not the way everything's been going up. From food to housing to
No, what? I went to the grocery store yesterday. And I wanted to buy a dozen eggs.
I know where you're going. I did the same thing. Go.
They're $9 a dozen.
Yeah.
I know. It's insane.
Come on.
Out of all the groceries that I got, that one stood out to me too. That just was like, wow, that's a big jump.
For real.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I've got DJ of Ability on our resource page on our website, walkandrolllive.com. If there's anything else that you'd like me to add to it, some of the organizations that you're working for, anything you're doing, put your, send me events that you're doing. We want to help you promote it and get your word out.
Talk about things coming up and whatever. So
yeah.
Be happy to throw it.
Great.
So put me on a mailing. You have a mailing list? Put me on the mailing list.
Okay.
All right.
I'm working on that. I don't have one yet, but that's in the works.
All right. Or just shoot me an email. Let me know when you got events coming up, and we'll talk about them. We'll put them on we have an events page. We'll put flyers up on there. Link it to wherever you want. You let me know.
All right, cool.
All right.
Guys, well, have a good day.
You too.
Thank you so much.
Good to talk to you.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah. All right, have a good one.
Take care. Bye, Chris.
Walk and Roll Live.
I come from a family of 3 brothers that have cerebral palsy like me, but their stages are slightly different than mine.
I think within the first 5 to 10 minutes in the neurologist's office, he knew exactly what he was dealing with.
They picked me up. I was like, heck yeah.
Nice.
See 2 grown men struggle doing that.
And nowadays we really want to focus on noticing these characteristics at an early age, because the earlier you get help, the better.
Walk and Roll Live. Disability stories. Like, follow, and subscribe. Life. Limitless.
Don't put me on a pedestal, I'm not here to inspire. I've got my flaws, my highs, my lows, my own heart's fire. I laugh, I cry, I break, I'm in just like anyone. I'm not your symbol of courage, I'm just me, done.
Awesome to start off the year with Chris. Have another fellow CPer hang out with us for a while. Hear about all the cool stuff that he's done in the world and how he's expanding people's mental processes and world and doing so many good things in the world.
Man, nothing holds him back, I guess, huh?
No.
Yeah.
Like, he's like Nicaragua church trip. I'm like, what? No dirt roads for me, thank you.
Yeah, maybe in my younger days, but yeah, not now. You know, that out of that entire interview, I just was so just like, I wanted to cheer. You know, that moment when somebody said, was it a teacher that said, you know, you want to DJ this event?
Yeah, it was a teacher.
You know, instead of just,
I wanted to like clap and cry because it's somebody who young enough figured out that he had a skill set and nurtured it.
Yeah, and that's it mostly. And forget the disability. You know,
right.
That he saw that. And didn't just say, well, no, I don't have any equipment. I can't do that.
Yeah. But he was like, hold on, I'll go get my stuff.
Yeah, well, I guess he was probably too young to say hold my beer, but yeah.
Hold my phone. Hold my mic.
Just get it done. Get it done. Then they have the foresight of turning that into a business that he's now been doing for 25 years.
Right. Because if you think about that, that's like the mid 90s probably, which I mean, probably seems like a sexy job to a young man, but you know, like you say, it takes fortitude to like do it and be like, no, I'm going to do this when everybody else is like, get a calculator and press this button. He's like, nope. That's awesome.
And it sounds like he loves it, you know, too, on top of that. So awesome. So yeah, he's on our website. I know I put him up there, like we talked about when I met him at the Abilities Expo. And then he reached out to me to kind of school me a little bit on things, which I appreciated very much and promptly put into practice with the show. You can probably go back, and if you really did a forensic investigation, you could see kind of the turning point.
We'll find the Easter egg.
Yeah, which I like that. I like that a lot. You know, and the kind of inspiration where, you know, when we talk about inspiration porn, it's the kind of deal where somebody comes up, and I'm sure you've probably had this too, where somebody comes up to you in the middle of the day in public and just says, oh, you inspire me. You know, it's like, I'm standing here in line to get a burger. What do you mean I'm inspiring you?
Yeah.
You know, I haven't done anything. You know, that's what we're talking about, you know, but when you, right?
Totally. But here's the thing. I think we should do that to able-bodied people or differently able-bodied people, because people in the world can be a mean, cruel place. So telling other people like, hey, the fact that you took a shower or washed your face or fed your kids or whatever, that is inspiring when there's mounting issues in the world. So I wish it was not just for us being particularly different. I wish it was appropriate everywhere in the world to tell other people what they do for you.
I got you. You are absolutely right. I do, and I've said this for years, when you're, especially like when you're with a group of people, you know, say you belong to a club, and you know you do service projects with this club or whatever, and you have a weekly meeting.
Yeah.
Well, there are people. You might have 30 people that belong to this club, and you know you have a weekly meeting and 12 people show up. Yeah. And sometimes it's a different 12 people, but there are people that show up every week. There are people that kind of show up and they make the decision, I guess, that day if they're going to show up or not. You know, I'm one of those people that makes the decision once on every Thursday at noon. If I have this meeting, I'm going to that meeting every Thursday at noon. And when somebody says to me, hey, you want to go to lunch today? I don't make a decision on whether I'm going to the meeting or having lunch with you.
Yeah.
Let's have lunch on Wednesday because I have something on Thursday. First of all, okay, so I'm kind of getting a drift here. But for those people that show up, that is so important. You know, even before you get to a service project or anything else, just showing up is in and of itself an achievement.
Right.
Yeah. Because you bring your thoughts, you bring your input, but you can't do any of that until you've shown up.
Right.
That's just me. All right. All righty. So DJ of Ability is on our page, and a couple of other things he talked about. Hopefully he takes us at our word and he lets us know, and we'll add those, and we'll let you know when we add those. And also, if you're looking for a DJ and you're anywhere near the Santa Barbara, California area, go to DJ of Ability on our website. Go to his website and get in touch with him. Yeah, he does a great job. What else?
Man, I don't know. It's 2025. My brain is farting right now.
Next week, that's all right. Next week, and I always say this, and I can't remember because we have conversations. I have conversations with so many other people about the show and what we're doing and what we're not doing, and inviting people on. So I don't know sometimes which one of those conversations have been there or here. But next week we have Brian Bushway. He's going to be on the show. He does something called I think it's called floral sonar. So he's a person without sight, lost his sight around 15, and it was kind of a transitional thing, but he'll get into that story. And I saw him last year when I went to the Action Club, which is one of the clubs of Kiwanis. They had a convention, and it's in Central California at I don't know. It's kind of like what we used to call a dude ranch. It's got places to stay, but then there's activities. There's slides and there's horseback riding and all different things while you're there. And so they showed a video of Brian, and he's just kind of his story and his transition to blindness and how he learned, to get around. And one of the things he did is he uses this technique, and he's taken it to where he rides competitively bicycles, off-road bicycles through the woods.
That's so crazy. I cannot wait.
And and he'll tell us more about that. But so I go, and I wanted to get a hold of him, and I reached out to him, and I didn't hear back. And I'm like, that's all right. He's a busy guy. So the next year I go back this past year, and they've brought him in now to be a speaker this year. Yeah. And I'm like, well, I'm tracking that guy down and I'm going to talk to him. And couldn't have been nicer. He said, I missed it. Sorry. And he says, but I'd love to be part of the show. So, we've been working on it for the last few months. And next week is when we'll talk to Brian. So I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. Sure. I thought I would get, 15, 20 seconds just to say, hey, this is me, and I'll reach out to you. And we talk for 30 minutes there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, wow, it's an amazing story. So we'll do that next week. I think that's it for this week. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate it so much. Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Doug Vincent, along with Addie Rich from the Agyar Professional Training Studio. This has been Walk and Roll Live, Disability Stories, Life Limitless.
Walk and roll live.